Alright guys, so this video is sponsored by OneOdio. Now, today is the official day that Amazon's Prime Day deals have started. I did go through and start to try to look through all different kind of sales and things that are going on, and you can pretty much just scroll through pages and pages of things, and every now and then you'll find something pretty decent, but a lot of it is just so much junk. So I figured today we're going to do a video just pinpointing a lot of the deals that I think are worth checking out. But before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and talk about today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is OneOdio, but more specifically, it's on the OneOdio Studio Max 2 headphones. Now, it is part of Amazon's Prime Day deals because this one normally comes in at $189, but right now it's on sale for $151. And honestly, this is one of those that's a do-it-all type of headphone. You can use it in wired mode as a studio style headphone. You can use it wirelessly through Bluetooth, but the trick that it has up its sleeve is the Rapid Wheel Plus transmitter that it has. Now, this is allowing you to use a 2.4 gigahertz connection, and this transmits audio at a 9 millisecond response time. So this is going to be huge for DJs, which is what this headphone is marketed towards. But even using it for gaming and movies, which is the way that I found that I really like to use it, you just don't have to worry about any kind of lag at all. And the battery life on these are insane because you can get 120 hours on a full charge, which obviously means you don't have to worry about charging these very often. So it's a great sounding headphone with some really good response time, really good battery life, and right now with it being on sale, it's definitely a good time to check out the OneOdio Studio Max 2. Now back to the video, and now we're going to go ahead and jump into the first one. And again, I did just do a video on SoundPEATS products, so it's going to sound kind of repetitive, but there is no way that I'm not going to mention the SoundPEATS H3. This is, to this day, one of the best sounding true wireless earbuds. It definitely competes with the much more expensive ones out there, and it's already a pretty decent deal coming in at $129. But now you can pick it up for only $80 during the Prime Day deals. I will put all of this in the description if you're interested in checking it out. But what you're getting is a pair of earbuds that supports Snapdragon sound. You're getting aptX lossless playback. You're getting LDAC playback. It is using a dual driver setup, so they're using a 12mm dynamic driver mixed with dual balanced armature drivers. And this sound setup is so good. Just the way that it's tuned out of the box. You don't have to go in their app and mess around with EQ settings, which you can. The sound is just fantastic. It's just on a whole other level, especially from other earbuds in this price range. So that's why I always recommend the H3, and that's why I definitely wanted to talk about them first on this list. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is the Baseus Bowie MC2. Now, I've done a video on these recently. This is the clip-on style earbud, and this is something that Baseus has actually kind of stood out in. And they released their Inspire lineup, which was completely tuned by Bose. They kind of just carried that over to the MC2s. This one normally comes in at $79, but right now you can pick it up for $49, and that is a hell of a steal. It competes with, again, the much more expensive ones, but that's something that Baseus is kind of known for, especially with the earbuds that I've tested from them in the past. But with this one, you are getting an IP67 rating, so you don't have to worry that, water or dust or anything is going to damage these. They are high-res certified with LDAC playback. They also have what they call Super Bass 3.0. This is allowing you to have some really good punch, which isn't normal in this style of earbud, but you're also getting bass in lower volumes, which is definitely something you don't normally get in this style of earbud. Now, it does support multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. And the battery life on these is 11 hours on the earbuds and about 55 hours using the case. So obviously you can use these all day and not have to really worry about charging them. Now, the next one on the list that I wanted to talk about, and again, this is another one that I've always kind of considered to be one of the best sounding earbuds out there, is the JLab Epic Lab Edition earbuds. Now, that pair normally retails for $199, but right now you can pick it up for $120, and it is, again, still one of the best sounding earbuds out there. This is another pair that is using multiple drivers. It is using a dual driver setup with one dynamic driver and one balanced armature driver in each earbud. The noise canceling on these are pretty solid. I wouldn't say that this would be the reason to buy it, but it is definitely, in my opinion, all about the sound. It is a high-res certified earbud because it supports LDAC playback. Battery life is solid because you can get 9 hours on the earbuds, which, if you're working an 8-hour workday, that means you don't have to worry about charging these throughout the day. But it again is the sound and the clarity, the details. This pair is definitely picking out a lot more details than a lot of other earbuds. It does an excellent job with the mids and vocals. The bass has a nice tight punch to it. It's just not one of those that's going to be an overwhelming bass. But it is definitely one of the cleanest sounding earbuds on the market. And in my opinion, I think it's a steal at $120. Now, the next one on the list is an earbud that a lot of people consider to be one of the best sounding earbuds. If you look at a lot of reviewers, it's on a lot of their lists, and that is the Technics AZ100. Now, this is a more expensive earbud because it normally comes in at $299, but right now it's on sale for $219. And it is definitely a much better sounding earbud than the Sony and the Bose and even the Sennheisers that are in that same price range. Again, this is kind of a brand that falls under the radar compared to some of the more mainstream brands. But this is definitely one of those earbuds, especially from a sound aspect, that stands out. It does support Dolby Atmos with the head tracking. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this, but it is a feature that a lot of people seem to be interested in. A lot of people use, especially when it comes to gaming or movies. Music, again, to me, it's a gimmick, but at least battery life on these, 10 hours, obviously going to get you again through a full day. The noise canceling is actually very solid. Now, again, it's not top tier like Bose or Sony, but it's kind of close to that. But again, what you're paying for and what's most important, at least in my opinion, is the sound. And these definitely give you this full-bodied sound. You are getting some pretty punchy or slightly aggressive low ends. Mids sound fantastic, so vocalists sound incredible. Treble has a nice sharpness to it. It's very detailed. It wasn't harsh or anything like that, but it just gives you a really nice dynamically tuned sound that I don't ever feel like holds back, and I feel like it does a really good job across all genres. So definitely wanted to bring up the AZ100s. Now, the next one on the list is the Nothing Headphones A. Now, this is more the budget headphone offering from the company Nothing, and in my opinion, I feel like it's their best headphone. This one normally comes in at $199, but right now you can pick it up for $150. I've just been surprised at how much I enjoy these. This is one of those that I kind of expected to review and just kind of move on from, but it's definitely one that I've kept. It's one that I use quite frequently. And it's the sound and it's the battery life that kind of keeps me going back to it, because the battery life on these, you can get 135 hours on a full charge. It does support LDAC. So if you're going to use LDAC, you are not going to get that type of battery life, but it's just nice that you have that option. And I actually just love the look of these. It is something unique because it doesn't look like every other normal pair of headphones. Nothing is kind of known for having a distinctive look where you can kind of see through and kind of see some of the technology. And this one kind of follows that, where you can see some of the things inside, but it's just so clean and lightweight. And I really enjoyed using them. But again, the sound is the big part of that. The sound is bold, especially once you go in the app and kind of play around with the EQ settings. They have this bass boost mode, which I did like to use and test, especially in certain genres. But it's impressive what they were able to do with this, especially from a company that's not necessarily known for audio. But they definitely knocked it out of the park with the Nothing Headphones A. Now, guys, that wraps up my video on, some specific ones that I wanted to point out. But I do want to say that SoundPEATS and Earfun, pretty much their whole lineup is on sale. So if you've ever thought about buying one of their products, definitely make sure just look up the brand and check out what they have going on. Again, this is not sponsored by either one of those companies. I just like to see lesser known companies succeed. I feel like there's some incredible companies that just always don't get the attention they do because, they don't spend the money on marketing, or they're just not, a brand that's a household name. But I do want to thank, again, OneOdio for sponsoring today's video. And thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.